Welcome to Inside Marketing with Market Surge, your front row seat to the boldest ideas and smartest strategies in the marketing game. Your host is Reed Hansen, Chief Growth Officer at Market Surge.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Marketing with Market Surge. Today we've got a guest who's shaking up how brands grow online and doing it in one of the most overlooked corners of the internet, Reddit. Our guest is Danny Kirk, who's the founder of ReddiReach, a bootstrapped marketing agency that's helped over 500 brands grow organically on Reddit, while also optimizing for AI search platforms, ChatGPT and Claude, for example. He's not just playing in the Reddit sandbox, he's rewriting the playbook for how brands can show up authentically and dominate community conversations, even future-proof their content for the age of AI. From building multiple seven-figure companies without outside funding to pioneering what he calls Generative Engine Optimization, Danny's approach is all about real engagement and turning Reddit threads into real-world results. Let's dive in. So glad to have you, Danny.
Reed, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So now, Danny, you've built a business around a platform that a lot of brands instinctively avoid because of the crowdsourced nature of it. Tell us why you focused on Reddit. Where did you see the potential? What problem were you trying to tackle?
Yeah, certainly. So, I've been a longtime Reddit user. Just like most people, you lurk for about half a decade and then you start engaging in the second half. A lot of my actions on there have nothing to do with business, cat videos, ultra running, all that jazz. But we had our agency for about getting close to a decade now doing other things. But as I saw the AI search wave coming and how heavily Reddit was being cited, a few years back, we started to roll that out to our clients, and it was an immediate win. And I think it's just a huge opportunity right now as well. So it's not only an interesting channel that nobody else is doing, but right now our clients' competitors, there's only 5% of brands that are actually doing anything about Reddit and AI search right now. And that's one of the biggest opportunities I've seen for any of our clients in 15 years. So it's only going to get harder each day after this. Everyone that was saying, I wish I got into SEO 25 years ago, they should be thinking about what they're saying right now.
A confession here, I have in the past attempted to market businesses clumsily with either a branded user account on Reddit or an unbranded user account or a combination of the two, trying to make posts talking favorably about a certain topic or the business itself. And you run up against community moderators or community rules where they'll ban you. The commenters just eviscerate you. There does seem to be kind of like a cultural bias among the Redditors to not be so friendly to that. How do you overcome that?
Yeah, there's a lot of skeptics on Reddit. That's probably the hardest part, the big barrier to entry. So Reddit is a totally open platform. You don't even need an account to go engage. So that's kind of cool. But then the community itself is the moderator effectively. They're moderating the whole thing. And I actually think that's a great thing. It keeps bad actors out. The good rises to the top usually. But kind of like how we do that. So there's a lot of different Reddit marketers out there. 3 weeks ago, I was actually told by a big agency owner that I was the first non-sketchy Reddit marketer she had ever spoken to. Yeah, I'll put it on my gravestone probably. But we on the high end of the ethics scale. There's plenty of things that are done on Reddit that are at the opposite end. So what we focus on is being honest, being truthful in the content we put out there, not misrepresenting. We actually follow all FTC rules, and I have never heard another Reddit marketer actually utter the words FTC before, because we represent 10-figure brands. We have 7 to 10-figure brands on our client roster. So tons of lawyers, everyone, can't mess up people's brands, even if it's anonymous. So we go on there and really focus on whether you are acting as a first party, so a branded account, or if you're acting more anonymous as a third party account. Always be helpful, always follow the rules, always act genuine, be truthful, don't misrepresent, just as kind of rules of thumb. And you'll probably have a good experience on there. If you do the opposite of that, you're not going to have a good time.
Tell us a little bit about what an engagement would look like. Say I was a brand that was interested in Reddit and its potential. I assume you get to know the brand and what they talk about, but is it creating posts? Is it comments? How do you operationalize this and do the marketing for the brand?
Certainly. So, the overarching kind of goal and outcome are twofold for our clients. So they want to dive into these incredibly niche subreddits where their 1,000 true fans are. So that's goal number one, and market on Reddit organically. And then goal number two, kind of the bigger one, is to be picked up by AI search. So Reddit is the largest single source of training data right now. It actually dropped a lot in the past 3 weeks and the world was freaking out. It's still 20-30% of all training data. So it's still a very large percentage. It used to be like 80%. But so that's the other outcome that people want. And I say that just to kind of define like what we do. So AI is looking for great human interactions. Human interactions happen on the comment level within Reddit. So you have Reddit, you have your subreddits, you have posts people make, and then you have the comments, the discussions underneath those posts. And that's where human interactions come from. So that's actually what AI is reading and trying to pull signal from as far as those interactions go. And then the great news is that that's where human interactions happen. So your customers can find you on there. So we focus on really amazing comments, like I said, that are genuine, helpful, factually accurate, and truthful, that hopefully help the reader first. So we want to help other Reddit users first. And then mention our client's brand second. And then because of that, get picked up by AI search. And then finally, the third aspect of this is Google ranks Reddit links on page one. So it's like this triple whammy. You get a 3-for-1 kind of marketing channel for just doing that.
Do you do the paid advertising on Reddit, or is that just not part of the engagement?
We just do organic, actually. So a couple different things. I have no experience in ads, so I should be running them. All of us kind of OG Reddit users always make fun of Reddit ads, so we're like kind of skeptical in general. Because yet again, like you said, Reddit is very anti-marketing, anti-sales, anti-stuff. Ads are like the worst version of that. It's like clearly somebody trying to sell you something. So doing it organically, we see more effective. And then also AI search is not scraping ads on Reddit. They're scraping comments and content.
Okay, so let's go down into the rabbit hole of AI SEO or GEO. Maybe tell us a little bit about what GEO is, and it sounds like a great channel to be working through, but are there any other opportunities, any other things that you see there in that world? I mean, it's a little bit of a mystery to a lot of brands. How do you get ranked, and what's the future like for search?
Yeah, absolutely. And the big disclaimer that this industry is like 6 months old. So, we'll publish this in a week and it'll probably be old news by then. But, first of all, you actually have to get good intel on your brand and how they're being ranked by competitors. Now, in the SEO world, that was SEMrush, that was Ahrefs, Refs. Sorry, I mispronounced that horribly. Sorry, company. But in AI search, I use a tool called Peekaboo. So we'll have this in the show notes, but AIpeekaboo.com. And it's essentially just like SEMrush, but for AI search. So you go in there, put your URL, and then it ranks, like gives you a total score, like, hey, here's how you're doing in AI search. And then relative to your competitors, for what prompts, on what channels, what you can optimize for and what you can't. So that's the first and foremost, like just how are you doing? You go into a doctor's office and they triage you first before they start prescribing stuff. So that's step number one. And we love a tool called Peekaboo for all of our clients. And then from there, it's really kind of looking at the channels. So Reddit is certainly not the only one for AI search. I'm calling it AI search because nobody's decided on an acronym, GEOA. Nobody can get it right. So AI search in general, we love Reddit, but there's other ones out there. So first and foremost, SEO in general is still a good thing. It's not going anywhere. It's just kind of evolving. So like blog content and whatnot is great. Optimizing one's website. I actually get a ton of leads from my LinkedIn content. So AI is scraping LinkedIn as well. Wikipedia, if that's relevant to your business. It's not relevant to most businesses, but Wikipedia is a huge source of training data. YouTube as well. AI is scraping those too. So there's a bunch of different sources out there. And then it's really also relative to your brand and business. All the weights of all of those sources will change relative to who you're targeting, what channels they're on, and whatnot. But as I said, Reddit is still a huge single source of training data. There's subreddits for just the most obscure things out there. So most companies have 1,000 true fans on there or 1 million true fans. So that's why we like it.
Okay, no, that's great. So Now, speaking about Reddit in particular, Reddit is probably one of the platforms that most represents how like long tail marketing, very specific niches can, you can create communities around it. There's obviously been a lot of those around, but Reddit seems to be the most thriving place where you could get deep into a topic and interact with other people that are also deep in the topic. Do you think that is important for a brand to emphasize? They're like, say I'm starting a business of any kind. Should I be thinking about trying to engage the most people or trying to engage people at a very deep level? Broad versus deep. What are your thoughts on that, and how does that manifest on Reddit?
Yeah, I always think engaging on a deep level is best. Deep means that you've achieved product market fit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not 100 million true fans, it's 1,000 true fans. So I always recommend kind of the deeper the better. And then, on Reddit, that means going and finding that subreddit or subreddits. Usually there's more than one for most companies, and really truly understanding the rules of each subreddit, and then, more importantly, the ethos of each subreddit, how people act, what's important to them. And it probably shouldn't be a surprise at all, because if these are your true fans, you probably already know that a little bit. But really kind of understanding and appreciating that, because that'll kind of inform how you act on Reddit, what wording you use, how promotional or promotional you are, things like that. So that's really important to it all.
Okay. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, I'd be interested in your perspective as somebody that's had multiple exits. You've built your current business, but you've had previous successes. What are some of the learnings that you've had? Do you think this pervades your other startups, that you've gone really deep versus really broad? Is that something you'd recommend overall as a business strategy?
Yeah, certainly Danny 15 years ago was saying yes to everything. And yeah, I think most people make that mistake early on. I certainly did. So yeah, trying to be everything to everyone versus just doing one thing and doing it better than everyone else. One thing is really easy to sell unless you're Amazon the everything store, but it's hard to be Amazon. One thing is really easy to sell. Multiple things is harder to sell because the messaging gets diluted. So ReddiReach has been super successful, my most successful business to date, mainly because of our focus and kind of a single offer that we try to be best of the planet on. So that's certainly something that I wish I could put in a time capsule and send backwards in time to my earlier self.
That's awesome. And do you use Reddit marketing for ReddiReach, for instance, to promote it? Are you eating your own dog food, so to speak?
I actually don't as much. I have a interesting theory that many people disagree with me on, and that I think that's called secret sauce, actually. That I shouldn't say never, you should be skeptical about, if you're a marketer, marketing services for the channel that you're using to market them on. Obviously, many people on LinkedIn don't do this. There's so many marketers on LinkedIn saying they can help you on LinkedIn. But especially since Reddit is a super skeptical place, I don't see that as a winning strategy for my offer. Now, having said that, I'm big on LinkedIn because that's where my 1,000 true fans are, and they're not skeptical and they're open-minded. So yeah, for better or for worse, I don't eat my own dog food just because of that own strategy. But so we still have amazing successes for our clients. And at any one time these days, we're serving about 45 7 to 10 figure brands. And actually, I think we're just about to get our second 10-figure brand on next week. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome. All right. I've got to ask, what's your favorite subreddit?
Yeah, for sure. A couple different ones come to mind. I've got a Norwegian forest cat. So Norwegian forest cats is pretty awesome. They're just very fluffy. They look like a Maine Coon. They're relatives to Maine Coon. Ultra running, I've been in that recently. There's a subreddit called Maybe. It's just these video clips of people almost failing, but not, they're like trying to ride a Segway and it's just like this. And, it just goes on for too long. And, you're kind of holding your breath the whole time. Yeah. Watch people die inside is a great one. Just like kind of cringe videos and stuff. They're so good. And what the even weirdest part is that like each one of those has an even more obscure subreddit sometimes. Then there's like cats with jobs, and there's actually, I think, a subreddit called maybe four maybes, because three maybes wasn't quite good enough. So that's just one thing I love about Reddit.
Yes, yes. Okay, so do you follow or think that there are other social media platforms that, or even more like forum-based platforms that have potential to either displace Reddit or take a different, create their own niche? And any interesting things you've seen?
Displace Reddit maybe as an actual competitor to Reddit, like a Reddit to Reddit? I don't think so. They've been unprofitable for 20 years and now they're finally like getting a bunch of money. So I think that they always had the community and now they have the money. So I think they're probably set. Other social media, certainly somebody that I chat with a lot, does a lot on TikTok. I'm 37 years old, so that ship has sailed for me. But yeah, I think certainly other social media is pretty compelling. LinkedIn, as I said, YouTube. I think I have a face for radio, so I'm not very good on
Oh no,
YouTube
don't
very
say.
much. But yeah, I think there's plenty out there. I'm a big time believer and a type of marketer that doesn't say like, hey, this channel is the best for everyone. It's like, no, you got to go find where your tribe is at. If they're not on, it's like if I was marketing to 98-year-olds, yeah, I wouldn't be using Reddit or LinkedIn to do that. I'd be knocking on doors at old people homes and whatnot as my marketing channel. But yeah, so it's all about really finding where your tribe is at and then understanding those communities, those platforms, whether it's Reddit or something totally different.
That's awesome. So maybe talking about AI in general, are there, obviously you're very immersed in all things AI. Are there other AI tools that you really like that you use personally in your day-to-day life? You gave us a great one with Peekaboo. That was really cool. Any other unique tools that you've been exposed to that strike you as particularly interesting?
I obviously use ChatGPT all day long. I think that's incredibly powerful. I love, it's kind of a question right now of will AI be so good, generally speaking, like general intelligence? Will we achieve that? Because if we achieve general intelligence, then ChatGPT wins because you don't need an app for everything because this one chat thing can just it can build you the website or go do deep research on climate change, whatever it might be. It's like if we reach general intelligence, then a general app will work well. If that takes longer, then maybe some of these specialized apps will kind of take off more. And obviously, they're already taking off. But that's just kind of like, I'm curious which way we go. I needed to build an internal tool for my company. And I just played around on, was it Render? No, not Render. I'm blanking on the, it's like a vibe coding
Oh,
tool
okay. Yeah.
a couple months
Yeah.
ago. And yeah, within an afternoon for 25 bucks, I built something that was moderately functional, worked pretty well, had troubleshooted it with the AI builder for 4 hours. And it was like a decently functioning tool. I then went out and found a platform that actually did what I needed and then bought that. But it was super cool, for such a low barrier to entry. So that stuff makes me super
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, I agree with you. I've been working with Cursor for a few months, and I mean,
Yeah.
even just in the few months I've used it, it is so much better. It's like the learning curve of AI just is. If you use it the first time, you're like, wow, that's really cool. But then if you use it for a few months and like how fast it can improve, it is pretty mind blowing. It doesn't really compare to anything like in our human experience, and in a good way, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's just such a liberating thing for a lot of people in the world. I mean, technical people use it for technical things, but also giving all of humanity's knowledge to somebody in sub-Saharan Africa or in Bangladesh
Yeah.
or that doesn't have the resources that we do. I think that's an incredible thing. And I really hope that brings up a lot of people because that's like the true inspiration behind it all. It's not just like making us, 10% more efficient at our jobs. It's like, man, how can we help half the planet kind of rise up a little bit
Yeah.
more?
My totally comment is, man, it has done so much for me as a humanities major. I feel like I've been liberated. And that's, anyway, Danny, great insights. You obviously have a really cool tool and a great approach to SEO that seems to be really conscious of the shifting marketplace with AI. If people want to work with you, how can they find you? What are the best platforms to reach you on?
Yeah, for sure. So you can go to my website, reddireach.com, reddireach.com. There's a link there where you can reach out, schedule a call time, all that jazz. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can type in Danny Kirk, ReddiReach, or my handle is /Daniel P as in Patrick Kirk, Daniel P. Kirk. You can find me on there. Shoot me a DM, shoot me your website. I can give you kind of my hot take on your brand and see if it might be worthwhile to have a discussion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danny. This was a great interview and love your energy outlook. So thanks so much for coming on.
Awesome, Reed. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Inside Marketing with Market Surge, your front row seat to the boldest ideas and smartest strategies in the marketing game. Your host is Reed Hansen, Chief Growth Officer at Market Surge.